Hello and welcome back, guys. Today we're going to take a look at my Shadowhunter build, and also quick mention before we go in, there will be a little bit of a commentary at the end of the video where I talk about the build, how it works and so on. On top of that, my current rating is actually the highest one that I've ever had. The last like 130 points were purely on Shadowhunter. I dropped back down to Masters with my blade. And I said, I reached Grandmaster, let's try out the Shadowhunter. And like, we basically went on a huge win streak and won like 15 games in a row almost. Yeah, I'm gonna just share the build with you guys. It's a little bit different than all of the meta builds. And let's get started. Okay, we'll start with the basics, which is Demonic Slash, excellent mobility, nimble movement, chain charge. This is your basic movement tool, which also gives you a buff in that tripod, which you can delay a little bit so you have longer buff duration. Keep in mind that this is also a hard stagger, so you can actually use this as a combo starter. Speaking of combos, let's just talk about Thrust Impact already. With Thrust, Enhanced Explosion, Spectral Explosion as well. Now keep in mind this entire build and the tripods can be found in the description below, so I'm not going to go super into detail here. So Thrust Impact can also be used as a combo tool and a combo ender most of the time, because as you can see, it tosses your opponent pretty far and tosses you the other way. And well, there's one thing that you probably already noticed, and that's because I'm not using grind chain. In every normal Shadowhunter build, grind chain is mandatory. I don't think in this meta it's necessary. Maybe you guys watched the Blade video already, where I talk about in this current meta, it's very punish heavy, and you need a lot of damage to really, I don't know, to climb, right? So I basically swapped out grind chain with Cruel Cutter, which is one of the best and highest damage range tools in the game, and it's very good against a lot of classes, especially Sorks, Artillerists, Bards, and so on, that want to stay on range, and you can basically harass them with this. You play Bleed, Ranged Attack, and Boomerang. Looks something like this. Keep in mind this is only a soft stagger, so in a lot of cases this will not actually CC, but if you catch someone off guard, and well, a lot of damage, right? This is a lot of damage if you catch someone off guard with this. It can also combo. So as you can see, this blade is actually coming back as well, and you can combo that into other abilities as well. And very good damage, high cooldown though, so you have to be smart about it. And now let's talk about Sharpened Cut. Sharpened Cut is excellent mobility, infiltration attack, and critical cut. Keep in mind, you can also play this on 7 points, so only infiltration attack and not critical cut, and instead put those 3 missing points right here into Rising Claw, into Giant Hand. I don't prefer that because I think damage is super important right now. So critical cut is actually quite nice. Critical cut again is your main, or one of your main engagement tools, including Demonic Slash. And in this case, it's a great combo starter because especially on lower ranks, people do not react to that very well. And even on high ranks, it's hard to react to. It's very fast and a great combo starter. And you can combo that into Thrust Impact, Demonic Clone. Same with Demonic Slash. You can do Demonic Clone into this. It doesn't really matter. All of the combos work pretty well. And you can basically, let's say, freestyle a lot of combos on this class because you have so many tools. Keep in mind though that both Demonic Clone and Rising Claw are your main hard stagger immune abilities if you want to trade with someone. So as this is hard stagger immune, you can knock someone up with that or with this. Also though, quick note, Rising Claw is way faster on the knockup part than Demonic Clone. So if you see someone engage very quickly and need a very quick knockup, always opt into Rising Claw and not into Demonic Clone. Just quickly, Demonic Clone is naively honest, Fist of Destruction, Encroachment Discharge, and Rising Claw is just the super armor. Let's talk about Piercing Thorns. This is one of your main ranged push tool that is, well, used for peeling mostly or catching people off guard. Enhanced Strike, Triple Thorn, and Massive Thorns. As I said, that's a very nice, super long range tool that is honestly one of the best abilities of the class in general, and you should always play this in all builds in 3v3 because it's just such a great AoE cleave push tool that is used for peeling and damage. And last but not least is Demonic Vision, a quick release, electric discharge, and instant discharge. Just a super quick ranged hard CC tool, and in a meta that is just dominated by paladins, sorks, artillerists, blades to an extent as well, this is just mandatory, right? You cannot not play this. There's a couple of different iterations of Demonic Vision. Some people play with concentrated release or even with charge, but I don't think that's good. I think this is the most reactive version of the ability, and you can do a lot with that. So now that we've covered all of the main abilities and what they do, and maybe also a little bit what they can combo and so on, I'm going to talk about it a little bit more in the commentary part now, where we analyze a game and go from there, and you guys can see a little bit what I do and why I do it. And yeah, see you there. Okay, so this game is actually quite interesting because we play against another Shadowhunter in the enemy team, a Sharpshooter and a Gunlancer, while we have a Sork and a Soulfist. So we don't really have a front line here, and at the same time, the enemy team does have a nice front line with some shields and, you know, damage reduction, but they also have a very sick backline with the Shadowhunter and Sharpshooter combo. So I think this is a good game to look at, and all of these guys are almost master, so this is a very high level game. Yeah, let's get going. Okay, as we go in, I'm already trying to reposition myself here, and that's why you play the saw in that scenario, because I'm trying to create space just by clicking the button, basically, right? Because the saw people want to avoid, and that instantly means they're not going to run that direction. So I see the Shadowhunter engage here, which, well, Shadowhunters have no tier 2 super armors, and the spikes, well, are tier 2 CC. So if you see someone engage like that, you can easily peel them off of your teammate, and that means their teammate is fine, and they probably have to use a roll. So as I catch the Shadowhunter here, I try to punish him, obviously, but there's a shield coming out from the Gunlancer, and you can see at the back that the Sharpshooter is also charging up a snipe, so I didn't really want to engage into that. I miss my sharpened cut, but then I go really aggressive and catch him again. I know he doesn't have a roll, so I can do the full combo. And as you can see, I reposition myself a little bit. So previously we talked about Cruel Cutter, right? And how I'm playing it over Grind Chain, and here you see a little bit of that. One of the tripods of Cruel Cutter, that I choose at least, gives you more damage the farther your opponent is away from you. So that's why I'm repositioning myself like that, so I can hit the max range Cruel Cutter for the most damage. Now I actually get the Sharpshooter here in his invisibility, which is obviously really nice, and the Gunlancer Awakening comes out. Now in this scenario, the Gunlancer Awakening is basically like an impenetrable wall, or whatever you want to call it. You can't go in there, okay? Don't go in there. Okay, they're immune to CC, and the first bit, like when they cast it, it actually stuns you as well. So you don't want to be anywhere near that thing. So I'm not trying to be aggressive here. I have no cooldowns anyways, but I'm not even trying to trade with Rising Claw, for example. So I'm just gonna let the Gunlancer do his thing while I'm just trying to dodge his abilities. We're basically stalling the Gunlancer Awakening here. And now he gets a very good parry off on me. I do have roll, but I'm not using it. Also something very important. A lot of new players decide to roll whenever they can, which in a lot of cases will get you killed. Because if you want to play it aggressively and if you want to push advantage, having a roll is very important. So only use it when you need to, and always use it reactively. Make people, you know, guess if you have it up or not. So maybe they waste an ability or two. You know? So as I re-engage and also dodge the Sharpshooter, you know, hard CC, the little mine there, and he also charges snipe in the very back again. We just disengage. This is fine. We don't have a lot of cooldowns. Just, you know, go back. You also see that my Soul Fist is not in his gates right now. So in this scenario, the best thing to do is just stall. Wait until the Soul Fist has his pressure up again, and then re-engage. But obviously that's not always so easy. I get caught as well, and I dash into spikes. And again, I'm not rolling, because the way I play is very aggressive, right? And in that sense, I need my roll in all cases. Now, I made a little bit of a mistake here, so let's rewind that a little bit. I see that the Sharpshooter is not ready for my engage. I do have Explosive Arrow on me. I know that. I do realize that in that moment. But I think I have more time than I actually have. So now after the Sharpened Cut, the fastest way to continue the combo would be Thrust Impact or Rising Claw, right? But for some reason, I choose to use Demonic Clone, and that gets me killed, right? Including Demonic Slash as well. So I wasn't really aware there. I should have used Thrust Impact or Rising Claw. And in that scenario, well, that, you know, did get me in some problematic situations, but we did kill the other guys. Well, a double spike, and that's also something that you should always keep in mind. That spike is one of your most useful tools in all situations, okay? Those spikes can really throw people off and throw engages off as well, and it gets people off guard all the time. So now we're resetting again. I see my Soulfist has his gates up again, and he can choose to do stage 2 whenever he wants. And you can see the enemies a little bit, well, aggressive. They're panicking a little bit right now. This is something that happens a lot when a lot of, well, enemies are low health. The enemy team tries to be too aggressive and just to finish off the target. So just so they're, you know, gone finally. And you can see that we can play with that a lot in this build because we have so much ranged pressure that, and we can't basically stop them from engaging, and we can stop them from playing their game, right? So the Shadowhunter still tries to catch me, and she finally does. I don't really have anything up here besides roll, and that's why you need the roll for. So now I can see in the back line that my team is struggling. What I'm trying to do now is to live as long as possible, while also forcing them, let's just say, use all of their abilities without actually getting much out of it. So using their cooldowns, because I can see that both of my teammates are reviving at the same time. So if the enemy team is low on cooldowns, and as you can see, they're low on health, they can use that. They can actually pressure. So now I'm respawning. You can actually see that they finished off the sharpshooter, meaning we are at a man advantage now. Exactly what I was talking about, right? And now we can see the shield coming out from the gun lancer as well, but that's not going to be enough to really do anything. I have a damage reduction right now, so the gun lancer's like, yeah, that combo is probably not worth doing. I think he had a roll, but he didn't. So I overcommitted a little bit with my spikes there, and a very good catch from the Soul Fist again. We know that the Gun Lancer didn't have roll, right? So always keep that in mind. And now we can use that. As you can see, this is a snowball now. Because the Sharpshooter died late, while his teammates did not have a whole lot of abilities up, and we could push that. We could punish that. So what's happening now is there's a constant flow of just them dying one by one, right? The Sharpshooter doesn't have anywhere to go. We hit a nice electricity there, and the Soul Fist has a very good awakening. So now it's again 3v2, and we can push that advantage even further. So we have to play a little bit aggressive here, get more pressure up, and what I'm trying to do at the moment, let's wind it back a little bit. So as you can see, most of my abilities are on cooldown, but some are coming back up like the saws. So what I'm trying to do is get those saws out before I transform. So during my transformation, all of those abilities, all of those cooldowns will come back up once I'm out of it, right? So we can basically efficiently use our cooldowns without wasting anything. And that's exactly what I'm doing here. So full combo here, a lot of damage coming out as well. And the other Shadowhunters also transforming here. Now I get caught in a very unlucky trap into the Hawkeye Awakening, the Sharpshooter Awakening, but that's completely fine. We're 4 kills ahead, and here, look at that. That's why Sharpshooters always have to play super safe, because he was way too greedy there. He thought I would just run away and let him get that snipe off, but sometimes being aggressive is very important. I don't even have a dash up, but in that scenario, I just had to cancel his snipe, right? And again, I'm re-engaging. I'm trying my best to finish the targets off, but then also transform back. Now, this is also something that a lot of newer Shadowhunters players don't even know. If you click the button again, you transform back. And this is important to do, because if you have no cooldowns on your actual transformation and you need to run away, you gotta change forms. Also, transformation is a tier 3 super armor, although not a very long one. Keep that in mind, but you can use it defensively as well. So again, he tries to re-engage, but demonic form is a very, well, linear type of playstyle, and in that sense, it's always hard to catch people off guard. We have 5 kills ahead at this point, and it's very hard for them to actually go in and do anything. So in summary, just very quickly, Shadowhunter is a very different playstyle from Blade, although they both have similar ways to, I don't know, punish targets a little bit. Because Shadowhunter is more of a ranged punish, well, character, but you can also have some very, very punishing combos in melee range. But most of them are unprotected, so you gotta be a little bit on the edge all the time and keep in mind what's going on around you. All in all, I think Shadowhunter is actually in a pretty good spot in the meta at the moment, because the only classes she really struggles against are Scrapper, Striker, and War Dancer, really. Sometimes Blades can be a problem too. Anything that can, well, outspeed you and at the same time also pressure you in melee where you don't have any super armors, right? So in that sense, I think Shadowhunter is still decent in the meta. It's good against artillerists, good against paladins, good against Sorks. Well, I mean, I think Sork Shadowhunter matchup is actually pretty even, but I think having an even matchup against a Sork is already pretty good. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. If you found this helpful, consider subscribing, and see you in the next one. Also, Twitch if you want to watch me live. I always forget that. So yeah, have a good one, guys, and see you in the next one. Peace.